Ready, Sam?
Born ready, baby. I mean, yeah.
I'm going to leave that in.
Possible.
Mumkin. Guys, this is episode 104 of Freshly Grounded, and we have a very, very special guest for you today. But before we discuss the special guest for you guys today, we want to give a little 1-2 reminders, and we'd love for you guys to stay for them. First of all, guys, our Patreon page. We have a premium subscription sort of thing going on. It's called Patreon. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. And what you basically do is you go to patreon.com/freshly grounded. That's patreon.com/freshly grounded. For the price of about a £5 a month, you get every episode of Freshly Grounded one day early. As long as we record it a day early, you get every episode of the podcast ad free. So if we ever have sponsored ads, you get the episode ad free. And do you know what? Actually, it was requested on Patreon that can they get the episode on video a day early as well, not just the audio. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say from now on, as long as we are able to get the video out, because obviously these video files are humongous. They're like 10-15 gigabyte files. So sometimes the video file just doesn't get ready until Friday. But as long as we can get the video of Freshly Grounded episode out by Thursday, then I'm even gonna say that we'll put out every episode of Freshly Grounded video one day early. There you go. So you get all of that. It's for just £5 a month. But more than anything, you're able to support Freshly Grounded. You know, it just by having a premium subscription service, what it essentially allows us to do is to never try and approach sponsors, to get private sponsorships, and so we can carry on doing what we love. We can make the content as best as possible, and we don't need to go around trying to find ways we can kind of fund Freshly Grounded and our equipment and all the costs that come alongside it. So that's why Patreon is so important to me and to Sam and to us. So do go ahead, look, even if you don't want all those perks, if you can spare aside a £5 a month, which is the price of a large decaf cappuccino with soy milk.
Why did you mention the decaf part?
Because maybe some people don't like calf.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's about the same price. It's one month. It makes a huge difference. So that's patreon.com/freshly grounded. And also want to let you guys know about
Spot.
Spot is a charity that we support every Ramadan, and this Ramadan is no different. Alhamdulillah, by the will of Allah, you guys have exceeded our expectations and already raised a whopping £2,000.
Alhamdulillah, that's great.
Alhamdulillah, I believe. Let me just get a real update, right now. Loading, depending on how fast the internet is, speaking like a robot, because while I'm just waiting for it to load, £2,036.46.
Amazing.
Wow.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. And you in helping to what kind of stuff does that go towards, Sam?
That goes towards clean water. It goes towards new parts of the school being built. Goes towards paying the staff at Spot. It goes towards general maintenance. It goes towards probably feeding the kittens maybe a little bit, I imagine. Generally looking after orphans, which, you know, as we know, part of our deen is one of the biggest rewards that we can get. So I highly recommend people to invest their time, money and du'as in the Spot Academy. Yep,
and the way you can do the money bit is by going to freshlygrounded.com/spot. That's freshlygrounded.com/SPOT. Today we are joined by a very special guest, Sam. Who is a guest and who is he?
Glenn McGoldrick, director of Menspire Dublin. He is a dear friend of mine, a brother of mine, a business partner of mine, and he has many interesting stories.
Yeah, very interesting
and stories. We discussed things such as...
So we basically discussed Glenn's journey from being someone who was outside looking in, interested in Sam and Josh's haircuts, to working for Menspire, and to eventually being the director of Menspire in Dublin and opening his own Menspire store, which is an amazing story. But also as like as an addition to that story, as we go through that timeline, we also discuss him converting to Islam and his journey in Islam, the ups and downs that he's had with it. And so I think it was so interesting. This episode.
It was very good.
It was definitely one of my favorites, and I hate saying that because I always say that, but it was one of my favorites, man.
You enjoyed it, yeah?
I really enjoyed every episode.
I never know with you. Sometimes it's difficult to please you.
No, I really enjoyed it, man. It has a lot of substance, and you listen to Glenn's story. Really enjoyed it. Would love to have him on again soon, inshallah. So without any further ado,
nice. Episode 104.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Cool.
And welcome
to Freshly Grounded, the brand new podcast by best friends Faisu and Sam.
Huh?
I said welcome to Freshly Grounded,
After that bit.
the brand new podcast
And after that bit?
by best friends Faisu and Sam.
Really?
Glenn, how long have we been trying to make this happen, bro? This podcast?
It's been a while, man. I've obviously said to Sam since day one that I'd love to get involved. And I've been listening to Freshly Grounded since day one, man. I'm actually a massive fan. Try and listen to it every week, if and when I can. But yeah, it's definitely been a while, man.
So we basically spoke about going over to Dublin. Obviously, when we opened the Dublin store, which was 2 years now.
I actually forgot about that.
I know you did. That's what I'm saying. But
Wow.
That's where it stemmed from, because we were like, I was like, cool, we'll go over there and we'll shoot a podcast there because it makes sense. The back area, the vision was there.
It would have looked quite
nice.
And
it seemed like it was going to happen, and then it just didn't happen. But that was about...
That was the plan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago now you were going to do that. And then you never bothered to come over to Dublin, and it's never happened.
I actually remember. I'm pretty sure we spoke about that as well.
Yeah. I still want to make it happen.
Busy.
I don't get busy. Right, I'm just going to bring this here. I think it's best.
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, definitely.
You got busy living, and it hasn't happened yet.
It's going to happen, inshallah.
But he's come down to our studio to all the way from Dublin this morning. You landed this morning, didn't you?
Landed this morning, yeah, at 9 a.m. I'm just thinking, Joe, we actually could probably do it in the new salon, inshallah.
Do the new salon?
We could do
the new salon.
If and when we get it open. But inshallah.
Inshallah. All right, so Glenn, for the people that are listening, I want to kind of... and it's cool because you're kind of like a first-time guest here. I want to give a backstory as to like how we know you, more importantly, how Sam knows you, and kind of your journey with Menspire, and how it led you ultimately to get your own store in your like hometown, right? So let's start at the very, very, very beginning, and I'm sure Sam, you'll be kind of like adding to it as well. But how did you guys meet, and then how was that journey from there?
It actually goes really, really far back, man. It actually goes as far back to when I was actually still in school, man. When I was at school, I've always had an interest in hair. Didn't actually necessarily think that I was gonna get into hairdressing or barbering or anything like that. But I actually used to follow Sam. I actually used to bring some of the snaps of him and Josh's trims to the local barbershop. Obviously, the local barbershop at that time, especially in Dublin, man, the standard is not. Well, it wasn't anywhere near the standard that was being produced in London. So I definitely was never getting the haircuts that I was showing the guy. But from that, obviously, I met Josh first. Josh came to Dublin to do he was literally just doing trims. Someone I know actually flew Josh in for the day just to cut like 20 people's hair in Dublin. And this was prior to Menspire. This was, obviously, Menspire was a brand. There was an Instagram page, but there was no salon as such. And Josh came, I got a trim from Josh, and that was it, man. I actually started to pursue a career in barbering that day, pretty much. Or I'd already sort of started getting into it, but I hadn't actually fully invested myself in it.
How old were you at this point?
I was 16.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It was actually quite a long time ago now. Was that nearly 6 years ago, man? And that was it. That was when I first started cutting hair, per se.
And then you're still in Dublin at the moment, though.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're at Dublin. What made you kind of transition over to come in? How did the relationship go with you going from like seeing Sam Josh's haircuts and enjoying them, enjoying them?
That's good. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. You did enjoy them. It's a good way of describing it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am good at describing things.
You're not, but that time it was really good. Carry on.
So you was enjoying the haircuts, and then you decided to pursue a career in barbering or in hairdressing, in hair. Yeah. And so then how did that transition go to actually like getting a job in Menspire?
So I'm trying to think where it actually initially began. I think... Do you know what, actually, I do remember.
You did education.
It was when Josh,
Ollie came over.
Yes, it was when Josh and Ollie came
Yeah.
and did a one-day fundamentals class. I think that was actually the first ever Menspire course as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. And Ollie actually did it. And Ollie wasn't even in Menspire at the time.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
And there's a good video from that, which is Josh just teaching everyone like a quick like head massage and kind of like a relaxing massage after the service. And there's a video of Josh showing Glenn. You can see him next to it, like showing this massage, and he goes, boom,
and what?
He goes, boom, and walks off, and you can just see Glenn and the other person just like
what is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on?
But yeah, that was the first
first. I was literally maybe trimming a very, very short amount of time, maybe 4 or 5 months.
And you and Craig
like
Murta was on
me
that
and
course,
Craig were on that course.
Who's obviously works in
Craig is obviously
manager
part
of
of the
Dublin.
manager of the Dublin branch now, yeah. And from there, Josh actually offered me and Craig a job at Menspire at the initial salon in where 59 is now. And me and Craig sort of briefly done like a small interview, and that sort of fell. That didn't really go ahead. We were meant to meet Josh in Belfast, I think it was, and it just didn't happen. I don't know how it didn't happen. Everything kind of fell apart, and that was it. And that was kind of the start of us or me potentially working for Menspire. So that happened, and then maybe, I can't remember exactly the timeline, it was probably maybe 8 months, maybe a year later from that point, where we didn't obviously have an interview and get a job. I seen Josh had posted on Josh and Sam had posted on the Menspire page that they were looking to employ a new, I think it was like a stylist and an assistant or something like that at the time. So I messaged Josh and said, bro, really interested in the job, blah blah blah. And Josh said, great, why don't you come for an interview on this date or whatever. It wasn't even that long away. It was like a week or maybe 2 weeks from when I texted him. He was asking me to come for an interview in London. I was like, wow, it's a bit quick. I don't know, I have to book a flight, maybe book accommodation. So I just booked it. Luckily, me and my missus just booked the flight, went there that day, made a little holiday out of it, went to London, had the interview. I actually got to the salon and Josh and Sam weren't there. I was thinking, okay. So I was sitting there for maybe 15, 20 minutes.
I remember this well.
I was sitting there for maybe 15, 20 minutes, and Midge was there at the time. And Midge kept looking at me kind of funny and was either thinking, is this guy booked in for a trim or what's going on? I was looking funny at Midge. I was thinking, what is going on? Where is Sam and Josh? So eventually I said to Midge, oh, by the way, I'm here for an interview. Is Josh in today? And Midge was like, nah, Josh doesn't work on Sundays. And all right. So Midge ran Josh, I think, and then Josh ran Sam, and then maybe an hour or two later, I think Sam might have just shown up. But they
Don't lies on the podcast.
He didn't show up straight away. It was a while. I went to breakfast. I had breakfast at Nino's. I had cups of coffee, but anyway, Josh and Sam arrived.
You made yourself acquainted with St Albans.
I did. But that was it, man. Yeah, had an interview with Sam and Josh that morning. Everything went well, and then I'm pretty sure I moved to St Albans. Don't know what, maybe it was 2 months later or something like that. It was fairly rapid after the interview, but it was quick, man. Like, it was very abrupt, very quick. All of a sudden, I'm living in Dublin, massive social clicking network, lots of friends and stuff, and then, I'm faced with a decision to literally move everything to London, man, my whole life.
But it sounds like you were so sure about that decision. What made you so sure about it? You just knew kind of the career path that you wanted to take, and you knew these were the guys?
Yeah, I suppose I knew, in Dublin at the time, the standard for cutting hair, bro, was shocking, and in terms of training and wanting to become a good stylist, that wasn't an option in Dublin. There was maybe 1 or 2 big companies that you might go to and get trained by, but that was it. And even at that, man, there's still not quite, what you would call a technical men's hairdressing company. There is a couple of companies there, but they're more women's hairdressing, and I didn't want to be a women's hairdresser. So Menspire was definitely just a company that I just knew that I wanted to work for. I think I even remember, in that first interview,
I was going to say, I remember it very, very clearly. The meeting was outside 59 in the sun.
Yeah.
And I remember you clearly saying, I want to come and work for Menspire, and I want to take a Menspire back to my hometown of Dublin.
Yeah.
I remember it really, really well. You said, I want to take Menspire back to Dublin. At the time, I was thinking, cool, that's a nice dream, it's a nice vision. But I literally remember you saying that. That's quite literally what you did. It was like you came over, but it wasn't like I'm coming over here to I'm done with Dublin. I'm coming to London. This is me. It was like I'm coming here for a purpose. I want to get into your brand. I want to be your brand, and then I want to eventually go back home. So it was kind of like we knew the plan from that first interview. I remember it clearly. Yeah,
there was definitely, yeah, but it was meant to be, man.
And how were you working? How long were you working in St Albans?
It's a good question.
It is a good question.
It was roughly 2 years, maybe year and a half, 2
Year and a
years, year and a half, 2 years, something like
Because
that.
I remember when I kind of met Sam, you were still running in Stillburns or not?
First met,
That's about 2.5
Yeah,
years.
he
he
would have
been.
been.
It was.
Yeah, I
The
think so, 'cause I
first
remember
Gambia
seeing
trip.
you,
The first
that's
Gambia
right.
trip, I was still in.
When I went to
I was still
Gambia
in
with Faith,
St.
yeah,
Albans.
of course, the first time, yeah,
I was.
he was, yeah,
I was
he
in
was, yeah.
St. Albans, yeah.
So I guess now is like a perfect time because if we like are viewing your story in terms of a timeline, now would be the perfect time to kind of introduce Islam into it, because at some point I suppose when you were in St. Albans you were introduced to Islam. How did that go? Because I actually don't know this story either, so I'm really intrigued myself.
It's actually a very interesting story, man. I actually remember the first night that it kicked off, man. Even prior to actually meeting Sam and Josh, like I knew, like I had some inclination that Islam it definitely interested me.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like there was something about it, especially even
You knew that we'd become
knew that
Muslim,
you'd become
and you'd
Muslim.
obviously seen us lead a different lifestyle from
Exactly.
social media.
yeah,
And then you obviously realised, everyone had kind of realised who was following us in the industry at the time, realised that we'd
Yeah.
become Muslim.
yeah.
Oh, really?
So you knew what
I
you
was
were getting
just about
into.
to touch on that because
Yeah.
your Instagram changed drastically.
Yeah,
There was all of a sudden there was a picture of you walking in a field in Hertfordshire somewhere,
maybe, yeah.
talking about something. I can't remember exactly, but I remember thinking, wow, like
But
it's
before
a
that,
big
it
difference
was-
from
Before, yeah.
yeah. But anyway, yeah,
I shortly after that, I deleted that account, to be fair.
I remember.
Started
Yeah,
again, yeah.
I remember.
Jahiliyyah.
Jahiliyyah, yeah, very interesting that account. But anyway, yeah, that was it. But I remember actually coming to St. Albans. I was probably working at Menspire maybe a week or two, and I remember standing outside the news salon with Sam, just asking about Islam. I can't remember exactly what question I was asking, but just asking basic questions. I remember Sam taking quite an interest in me asking questions about it, and it's safe to say, like pretty much from day dot when I arrived, we kind of discussed it, didn't we? We sort of spoke about
I
it.
think we discussed spirituality from
Yeah,
day dot.
from day dot, yeah.
Because obviously you'd had that spiritual kind of experience before you'd even come over, and I had the same kind of experiences that
Can we speak about that?
yeah, of course we can.
Yeah? Is that-
Yeah, of course you can. Not in huge detail, but the
Yeah.
sense of out of body experiences and
Yeah.
and jinn, and you know there being maybe other dimensions and understanding your spiritual self. You'd had these experiences before coming over, and the kind of the same experiences that I'd had. So that's where we kind of picked up on. You were explaining your experiences when you discovered this kind of new sense of spirituality, and I was like, well, yeah, this is how I actually became Muslim. This
You
is
had
how
the
I
exact
started
same-
my journey. Was
Yeah.
like I found spirituality.
similar.
I started understanding what spirituality was, what a soul was, and then from there the quest
Led to
starts of
Islam.
okay, well, I need to find some answers,
Yeah.
and you almost had the same thing, innit?
Yeah, that was it, literally. Yeah, even prior to Islam, man, I was very spiritual. I always have been quite spiritual, and obviously prior to Islam, I was born Christian. And I wouldn't say I definitely didn't practice, but I definitely used to go to church, and I would get a sense of peace in some sense when I was at church. And I used to quite enjoy going, man. Like if there was ever an occasion where I had to be in church, whether it was something in the community like a communion or whatever it might have been, I actually quite enjoyed going there, just being, I suppose in some sense, spiritual. Do you know what I mean? And then from that, later into my life, like I definitely wasn't practicing. Probably hadn't been to the church in quite a long time, but I definitely discovered spirituality and went quite deeply down that path, and done one or two very intense spiritual things, involving like a shaman and stuff. But that gave me a massive awakening. It was essentially, like Sam said, it was an outer body experience, with a thing called DMT, and I took it, and it was the most profound experience I've ever had in my life. Now, as a Muslim, obviously, we know that these things aren't acceptable, and that we really shouldn't experiment with this sort of stuff. But at the time, it was very profound, and I had a complete outer body experience, and would like to think that I was I was definitely not on planet Earth anyway. But that gave me a massive wake-up call, because I then realised that there was actually a little bit more to life, and that we're not just what we think we are, which is just a vessel on planet Earth. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, subhanAllah, man. That was the first step, I believe, the first step in guidance. Even though it's not obviously Islamically correct, there's definitely something to do with it that made me believe that there's something a little bit deeper.
Yeah, sure. And I've heard it said, I think we've discussed this a few times, Sam, that like sometimes people make the sentiment that, you know, how could something haram lead you to Islam?
Of course.
And so many like teachers and lecturers have said that, well, Allah can guide you how He wills.
Exactly,
It's not for us to say, oh, how can that lead you to Islam? Or the examples that's often given is so many people in the music industry end up becoming Muslim, right? And it's almost like there's something that they would have done or seen that kind of like leads them to Islam. So yeah, that's amazing, man. So you had these experiences and stuff, and then you ended up having a chat with Sam. You started asking Sam a bit more about Islam, and then Sam, what was it like for you? Like when he was asking for like advice, was it just like did you foresee that Glenn would ever take his shahada?
Yeah. I saw a lot of similarities with myself, to be honest. And he was just asking basic questions. It's not like I had to force it down his throat, because he was just like, he clocked the spirituality, clocked that there was a God as such, there was a supreme being, and he was very open and curious to why me and Josh had obviously changed our life so much. It was almost just like,
I was almost harassing you in a sense.
yeah, but I loved it, because I love giving dawah is so much fun anyway, especially if someone who's actually like accepting it and understanding it, and then you move on to the next point. And I just remember just like having in 59 actually when there was no shop in there. There was no Menspire or cafe. It was an empty shop. It was our stock cupboard. We used to just go there and just spend time there and just sit on the sofa and just chat. It was good. It was just
an
good.
Office, really. It was the office. It was a little office.
It was the office. And it was good. It was dawah, and it was just he understood it all, because it all makes kind of perfect sense when you break it, start from the beginning, go all around it. And obviously I'd recently had quite a lot of experiences of myself that so it was meant to be, in the sense that he was very relatable and he understood what I was saying. So it was easy in the sense, not like I'm trying to persuade someone and say, look mate, you look at this, he was just like, well, what about this? Okay, cool, this is the answer to this. Well, what about this? And this is the answer to this. It was nice.
So how long after that chat did you take your shahada?
Do you know what, I was actually trying to figure this out the other day, because I had a feeling that I would be asked this question, because I remember asking you ages ago, do you remember when I actually took the shahada? And I actually couldn't remember the exact date or time or anything, but one thing that came into my mind recently was that I remember going home back to Dublin around Christmas time, end of December, and that was the first time that I'd went back. So I only moved in, I think it was October, and that was in December, and I was already conscious of like not drinking alcohol and stuff. So I'm pretty sure that I had taken my shahada pretty quickly, man. I'm pretty sure it was before.
When was it? I
can't remember, bro. But I actually.
Who took it?
Me, you, Josh, and what's his name?
Oh yeah,
Nurul.
In the car,
yeah.
on the way back from
Jumma.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, on the way after Jumma. Yeah, because you started coming
I
Jumma,
started
didn't
coming
you?
to Jumma on
started
Friday.
coming Jumma.
On Friday,
Yeah, that's right.
Mad.
That's right. Yeah, in the car outside Jumma. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
So this must have been a huge shock. Did your family find out?
They didn't find out. To be fair, my family. I actually only told my family probably maybe a year ago. So I was a secret Muslim for a while.
Right.
And there's still quite a lot of people that probably don't know that I'm Muslim, man.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
But everyone that's close to me does.
Not only are there probably a lot of Muslim people that don't know you're Muslim, but there's probably a lot of people who even right now maybe are like you mentioned, a secret Muslim. And so I think
I know a couple of secret Muslims.
Definitely.
And because of like they don't know how their families will react and stuff like that. So we have, alhamdulillah, we've had the blessing of, like, we've done over 100 episodes now, and we've had the blessing of having so many people on Freshly Grounded, people who have taken their shahada and stuff. But this is, I suppose, one element that we've never really discussed, is this idea of someone taking their shahada but perhaps hiding it from their family or their close ones, like with wisdom.
Because I was once told from a brother a story about a king who became Muslim, and out of wisdom he didn't tell his people that he'd become Muslim, out of wisdom, because he just to save it, and he actually died a Muslim, but a lot of his people didn't know he was Muslim. When I was told that, it's something that I could then relay on to people like Glenn, certain other people who, they know it's the truth, but they're just not ready to fully get into it,
Accept
tell
it,
their parents, because it's quite a lot for a lot of people. But if you can kind of give an example of someone who died and lived as a Muslim, but no one really knew about it, it's attractive to some people.
Yeah.
It's a massive. It can be a massive
Scary,
change
right?
for people, and it's scary. So
It is, man.
we all know shahada. It's vital we take our shahada. So if you can get someone to take a shahada, even if they don't necessarily get stuck in full on practicing, taking that shahada and accepting and bearing witness and making small steps towards it is better than I know it's the truth, but I never had the confidence to do it, or this, that, and the other. So
I don't know how my family would take it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. It's a very big deal, and it's
complete
something-
life change, man.
It does change your life, and so I can understand why people want to be secret Muslims. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't judge these people, but
Do you know what? I was actually listening to the episode with Tim Randall last week or the week before, and I could actually, I could relate to everything he was saying.
I was with him last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Sick guy, mashallah, man.
You guys need
sick.
to meet. He's proper nice. You know what? Just on the topic of that, we were at Iman Channel last night, and I've actually got a picture I'm going to show you guys, and I just thought it was so beautiful because there was a picture of a TV production guy, a TV presenter, and a sheikh. Yeah. I'll show you guys the picture. And Tim was one of the guys. He's a TV. He does TV production. And look, this is the picture. Oh, man. This is the picture. I find it so beautiful because these are three guys that are upon the sunnah. One's a sheikh, one's a TV presenter, one's a TV production guy, and they're all white Muslims. Like, do you know what I mean, bro? Like,
all probably reverts as well.
Yeah, they're all reverse, but it's so beautiful to see that. The diversity of Islam. It's a rare picture to see, like, not because sometimes you might see like a TV show where, or like even an episode of Freshly Grounded or anything, or podcast, or video where there's like two what you'd see as like regular Muslims naturally, like what you'd think are like the quote unquote stereotypical Muslims, and then like a revert, a white revert. But this is something where these guys are three reverts to Islam, but they're running the show, bro. There's a presenter, there's a sheikh, there's a TV production guy, and not only are they running the show, but they're not even like guests to the religion, quote unquote. Like the sheikh is more knowledgeable than all of us there. The TV presenter, he's a student of knowledge, and he's studying in Medina right now. Do you know what I mean? The production guy, he's got his own. He's been a Muslim for a long time. He's married. Do you know what I mean? Al-Humbari, he's like so. No one could ever take away from their Islam and say, "Oh, you're not as Muslim as us" or something.
Yeah.
And so it's so beautiful to see, man. So I took a picture like without them knowing.
It's true, man.
I'll actually throw that on the screen, maybe if I can.
Yeah.
But
Sick,
sorry.
man.
So you're watching the episode of Tim Randall.
Yeah, and I actually felt really, really interesting, man, because I could literally relate to everything that he was saying. Because obviously Tim was saying he's from a small town. I can't remember where he said he's from now, but he was saying how in a small town everybody knows everyone, and it's the exact same in Dublin, man. Even though Dublin it's technically quite a big city, like I'm not sure what the exact population is there, but it's not a town. Do you get me?
it's big, man.
It's big, but it's definitely a small community in a sense that like news spreads quickly, and especially in Dublin, man, like in terms of spirituality and religion, it's gone from being probably one of the more religious places in the world. Like at one point, Christianity was rampant in Dublin. It's only recently, bro, that the laws aren't controlled by the church. Like it wasn't even that long ago when the government started to create the laws. Like for years, the church was in control in Ireland of the laws, everything. It was a complete jurisdiction. So, you know, the generation above my generation were very religious, went to church, understood the concept of God, yeah. But now it's the complete opposite, man. Now the generation that my generation is the complete opposite. God is like completely out of context. People can't comprehend the idea of God. It's almost like a fairy tale when you start speaking about it. And I think it's just the world we live in, man. It's just that we're so fulfilled by desires, bro, that we don't actually but people feel like they don't need God because they're so preoccupied, man. You can sit on your phone for hours upon hours every day, and that's it. You know what I mean? You can buy cars, you can buy nice clothes. You can keep yourself busy with numerous different things. You know what I mean? Whereas back in the day, obviously, you know, we didn't have as much money, we weren't as well off. You know, there was a lot less time spent doing rubbish, basically. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I could definitely relate to Tim, man. And when he was saying that, I think it was like someone took a video and posted it on Facebook, yeah? I was like, wow, bro, if that had happened to me in them early stages, I would have been freaked, man. Because I was not ready, bro, to... And obviously Allah knows best, man. He's left it until this point, until people start to know that I'm Muslim. And it's quite well known, man, in Dublin now that I'm Muslim. Strangely enough, I actually only told one of my quite close friends recently. I just kind of addressed it. And he didn't know. And I was pretty sure that he... knew. I was thinking, really? How does he not know? Because I've heard of lots of other people that aren't in my close circle that know I'm Muslim. He didn't know. I was thinking, strange, but...
So you take your Shahada, and then for a couple years you choose not to tell your family. Are you happy to talk about that?
Yeah, of course.
So I suppose we've touched on it already, but slightly. But why did you think that it was best not to tell them? And then how was that conversation when you did eventually tell them? Did they predict it? Because I know we've done a few episodes where we've asked that similar question, and an example is like Tim Humble. He told his parents that he would become Muslim, and they were like kind of like, we know. Do you know what I mean? Like, and he thought it was like a big reveal. So what was that like for you?
To be fair, man, it was actually a bit of a rocky road the first year or two. Maybe I took the Shahada, got really invested in it, and then dropped off. I actually, upon reflection, man, I wasn't praying, wasn't reading. I was almost went back. Like I was going back partying, doing lots of stuff like that. Wasn't really thinking about Islam at all, man. The initial stage, the first maybe 6 months, I was on overdrive, man. I remember we went out for a meal that night with Shahid and a few other brothers, and I remember feeling so content, man. Do you know when your iman is so high and you're almost high on your iman? It's a mad feeling. That was the first time I ever experienced that, and I remember thinking, this is definitely the truth. This is like I found it, you know what I mean? But that slipped away. And it was like, I remember it was probably the summer after that where I literally didn't think about Islam at all, man. Didn't pray. I remember it was Ramadan. I remember you saying you're gonna fast, and I just didn't even think about it, man. It was just like, I just completely allowed it, man. Just didn't really think about it. And then I remember getting really frustrated about it, man, because I was torn between, whether it is the truth or whether it wasn't the truth. And I wasn't sure whether it was, or whether I was making the right decision. There was quite a big sacrifice. I was thinking, I have to change my whole life, and at the time, bro, like I used to drink quite a lot. I used to smoke. I used to do a lot of stuff that was like very normal for a boy from Dublin to do. But obviously, when you step into Islam, you realise that for yourself, these things aren't beneficial for the body, for the soul, all that sort of stuff. But at the time, I wasn't probably mature enough to understand that, and I remember being so frustrated that I made the dua. I asked God, I said, please send me a sign if this is the truth. And that night, I had a dream. And in the dream, I remember so vividly, I asked God, is this the truth? And there was like a massive white explosion and this feeling of like contentment. And I woke up. I remember thinking, alhamdulillah, this is it. This is the truth. That was my sign. And that was it. And then from there, I started to kind of slowly piece it back together. I started praying a little bit here and there. Maybe if I could, once, twice a day. Still not fully committed. I can't remember how long after that was, but there was, I would say, only really up until, I would say, maybe a year and a half ago was when I started practicing properly, praying 5 times a day, eating the right foods, not partying, not drinking alcohol. Do you know what I mean?
How difficult was that for you though? Because like you mentioned, when you went to St Albans, you were around Muslims, so it's a bit easier. And not only were you around Muslims, but you were around Muslims like Sam and Josh who you can relate to. So how difficult was it when you went back to Dublin? There was no Muslims around you, to become practicing there.
Tough, man. I won't lie, bro. Really tough. Alhamdulillah, man. I actually remained quite consistent and stuff. Was still praying 5 times a day, but definitely wasn't getting the same sense of iman, just because I wasn't talking about Islam, man, and I wasn't spending it with people that were on deen. Do you know what I mean? I was back sort of hanging around with people that I used to hang around with, which, like, alhamdulillah, man, I've actually got a really great group of friends that have, really good intentions, man, but you don't get that same sense of like, when you just go out with brothers, bro, and you spend the night speaking about deen, man, you go home, bro, and you feel that contentment, man.
You feel boosted, man.
You feel boosted, don't you, bro? But I just didn't have that, man, essentially, for a while. Luckily enough, I actually found a masjid not far from the salon that we opened, and the imam was an Irish revert.
No way.
I remember thinking, subhanallah, like, I was obviously making dua, please Allah, like, give me, Muslim friends, give me a Muslim circle in Dublin, because I knew I needed it. I actually remember listening to one of the Freshly Grounded podcasts, and you were saying that you were making dua for the same thing, and that's when I started doing it, because I remember thinking, you were saying that Sam came into life, and all of a sudden I was thinking, I must give that a bash and see if it actually works. And alhamdulillah, man, I was gifted maybe 2 or 3 Muslim people in Dublin within a very short span of time, man. that Imam, I've actually lost him now. His number's not the same, and he moved masjid, so I'm actually trying to hunt him down at the minute. I can't find him.
Imam, if you're watching this,
reach out. Yeah. But,
which masjid? That wasn't the masjid that we went to that Juma that time, was it?
Nah.
Was it a smaller one?
Yeah, it was a small
wasn't
one.
that? Did you not? They're not into a few things, maybe
Yes,
not on Sunnah.
certain things. Yeah.
So maybe it was a blessing.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
But yeah, I mean, at the time it was great because I had, I suppose, found someone that I could speak to that was Irish. He was a pretty sick guy, man, mashallah. Like some of the things, like he was proper Irish. Do you know what I mean? Like he was white guy, revert, pretty much went through very similar stuff to me. So it was nice to have that, man, especially for last Ramadan, which was my first Ramadan, pretty much, like doing it from start to finish. I had him the whole time, so I was down to the masjid with him in the evenings. And it definitely makes a difference, man, because, when you go into the masjid and you're the only white guy in there, never mind Irish guy, like it is a feeling of like, wow, like, where do I go? Who do I speak to? Like, alhamdulillah, man, you know yourself, when you walk into a masjid, people come up to you and make conversation straight away. You don't need to feel worried, but when you initially go in and you don't know anybody and you're not part of a clique, it can be a little bit daunting, man. So that was a big help. And then really I've had, maybe one or two other people that have come into my life, not necessarily reverts, but people that are based in Dublin that are upon Sunnah as well, alhamdulillah, that I hang out with now, that I go to the masjid with. So it's a blessing, man. But it was definitely difficult, man. I won't lie. The first maybe 6-8 months when I initially got back were tough. Because all of a sudden, I was going on nights out and I wasn't drinking. And people are thinking, well, why are you not drinking alcohol?
Did your family
anymore?
suspect anything?
Yeah.
It must be because you if you stop drinking and
they were definitely. She was definitely suspicious. My mum and dad were definitely suspicious. They didn't know that I'd taken Shahada and became Muslim though.
Did they know you had an interest in Islam?
But they definitely were suspicious because they knew that Sam and Josh were Muslims, and they knew that I was very close with Sam and Josh. Like quite early on into the company, me, Sam and Josh had built quite a good relationship. We were hanging out a lot, not even just on a business level, but on a friends level. So they knew, like I was travelling with Josh all the time, educating, and then anytime I'm in London, I was with Sam the whole time. So they're thinking, well, if they're about Muslim, there's obviously something going on, do you know what I mean? So when I told them, they weren't shocked, but they were definitely shocked a little bit, but they weren't as shocked as I'd expected them to be. Do you know what I mean? I was expecting them to be a little bit more shocked, but alhamdulillah, man, they're so supportive, bro. Like,
that's amazing.
Like they get it, man, and they fully understand it. Do you know what I mean? And bro, like they've seen since I've become Muslim, bro. Alhamdulillah, man, my life has changed, bro, completely. Like I went from just like before I even moved to Menspire, I was actually quite lazy. Like I was not really very very driven. Done crap at school. My parents were probably a little bit concerned of like what I was going to do and where I was going to go. And then all of a sudden I went to Menspire, and alhamdulillah, man, like there was just success instantly. Like all of a sudden I'm working for this company, I'm on stage, I'm teaching, my Instagram followers are going up. Not that that's a big thing, but it's obviously for your parents to see that you're getting like a lot of likes and there's people following you and commenting on your photos. It must be, I suppose, sort of proud for them. And they were like, wow, like it is strange how when you did become Muslim that all of a sudden there was a lot of success that followed that transition to being Muslim. Alhamdulillah, now I have my own salon. And it's all from God, man. And I do believe, bro, if I hadn't have moved to, obviously it was meant to be, but it definitely could have went bad.
So how was that journey getting your own salon then? So you're working at Menspire in St Albans. You've always had the vision of having your own salon in Dublin. Mm-hmm. And I remember with Sam when you were telling me about it, and then you said this Glenn salon and stuff, because this was about like when we knew each other.
It was, yeah.
And I knew of you, Glenn, and I felt like this like inner, like, I felt so happy inside for you just to know that that's a huge milestone, right?
You were really happy for us for Dublin, weren't you?
Yeah, I was really happy. And I actually, what happened that day is when you guys were launching that Dublin store, I had planned to come down and surprise you guys to the launch. And I'd pretty much planned everything down to a T, and it was like pretty much definitely happening. And for some reason or another, it didn't go through. I think I was relying on one brother who it would have been a difficult and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I was about to fly over to Dublin like the day after Sam flew over. I remember what it was. It was something like I had a prior engagement that I had to be back the next day. So what I would have done is like kind of flown in and out of Dublin in the same day, and the logistics just weren't making sense.
Yeah.
So like last minute, I ended up flopping, but I wanted to come and surprise both of you guys because I really wanted to just show how happy I was for you lot. But it didn't end up going through. But
yeah, you were really happy. I remember you sending a really long message.
Yeah,
really. Yeah,
I thought it was like a really nice.
You really, yeah. You've never actually congratulated any other salons since then, to be fair. So Dublin must have been special for you.
Yeah,
you haven't even acknowledged
maybe
it.
Glenn was special.
Yeah, maybe Glenn. Yeah.
And I congratulated you last week live on air for Jordan.
Sorry,
so how was that transition, man? Like, how did you get the store? And Sam, you must have had to put a lot of trust into him to give your like baby of Menspire in the hands of somebody else, and you won't be there like every day to check on it.
I do you know what? I actually trusted him. Like, considering the first time I met him was in this interview, I knew who he was through social media. We'd had a conversation on Instagram, and I knew he could cut hair really nicely. And to be honest, his haircuts at the time actually reminded me of my haircuts. I actually saw kind of like my kind of style there. And when he sat there so confidently told me that he wants to take this brand back to his hometown of Dublin, I trusted him from there. I honestly did. And this he's talking about being lazy and stuff. I never met the lazy Glenn. I met the Glenn that came in and became very, very busy straight away, almost fully booked straight away, which was unheard of because he was out of town. He had no network in St Albans. He got very busy. He got down to work quick time, busy in the salon, busy educating, busy travelling. So I didn't once question it. I think the only thing we questioned was where the money going to come from.
Yeah.
And there was a few times when Glenn was telling me, "Look, I'm going to open it in 2 months' time." I'm thinking, bruv, just take time. These things take such a long. I remember, yeah, and I also remember a conversation in the back of. I did. No, I gave you a taste of reality.
No, it was.
You were like, in a month's time, I want to have my own salon. I remember. Take time. And then you're like, "Oh, where's the money going to come from?" And I was just like, how many times did we just like? Did I say just trust me? It will come, and it did come. And yeah, so there was never a point of, I'm not sure about Glenn running a salon. It was always I had a trust there because he proved himself. He proved himself in the shop and with education. So yeah, no, I fully trust him taking the brand back over there, and he's done a fine job, to be fair.
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, we might have seen it on our socials that we have our second salon being prepared as we speak, and academy as well. So. Inshallah, in Dublin.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn up for that one.
You should. We'll do a massive opening for that.
I would love to come out
We'll do a
to
proper
that.
event.
It is going to be. We've spoken about it.
The unit is incredible. The unit is incredible. Like the size of it is just it's
huge,
insane.
bro.
The
It's almost
presence
daunting.
It is daunting. Like the presence it has on the street, I've never really seen anything like it.
It's massive.
It's just it's 2 shops width, quite wide shops. So
wow.
you're outside it and you're just like.
You have to go like that to
you're
look across
you're
the
like,
whole
right, it's going to have, how big is the Menspire sign going to be? And like, it's just huge. So it's exciting. It's really, really exciting.
So,
really exciting,
so would you be dividing your time between the 2 stores, or will you be kind of focusing on the new one?
Yeah, so over the last couple of months, we've been building, I suppose, a very good structure in Dublin, because my plan now, I suppose, my next goal from getting one salon was like, right, that was a pretty big goal that I achieved. And I definitely needed some time to think about what I wanted next. And I've always wanted to have, I've always wanted to almost, in a sense, control Ireland, man, and have the most prestigious brand there with the most salons and the biggest academy. And as you obviously, open a business, you quickly realise how these goals and ambitions are great, fantastic, but really, you have to put a lot of work in to actually be able to build a company that even stretches beyond one salon and still maintains standards and procedures. And, even with one salon, if the structure is not correct, you quickly realise how fragile it can be in terms of just your team, their progression, their development, every little thing, man. It's actually baffling, bro. So this first year has humbled me. But it's definitely not disheartened me from my goals, but it's humbled me, because at one point I was almost, cocky, kind of 18, 19-year-old that thought I could just quickly take over Ireland and open salons in America and here, there, everywhere. And then you quickly realise it doesn't happen that easily. There's definitely a structure has to be in place. So over the last couple of months, we've been putting a structure in place in Dublin. I've taken on an operations manager, so someone who just doesn't cut hair. Reza has been a big help. He was actually almost like an operations manager at McDonald's, and is very experienced in that aspect. So we've taken him on board. He's helping me out with just getting the salon ready so that I'm not there all the time. And getting some staff members that are in Dublin now trained up in a managerial sense outside of haircutting, that are learning procedures and ways to manage people rather than just teaching hair all the time. So ideally the plan is that I will be dividing my time equally between all of them, but I'm hoping that the structure that we put in place will mean that I won't have to be stressed running around making sure that everything is X, Y and Z are done all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, alhamdulillah, man, support from my missus as well. She's incredible, man. She does a lot of work for me in the background, man. And even like the first year and a bit into the salon, bro, I am useless with computers, man. When it comes to like, and Sam's the same. I can humbly say that both of us.
I thought you were a technical manager when you were.
I used to be. I'm quite good with cables and small little things, but not when it comes to like Excel. Yeah, that was my position.
Because the CCTV kept getting pulled out. I was like, "Where's my technical manager?"
That was all I'd done, though.
Yeah, no.
You gave me that role of.
And you were the one who kept on pulling the CCTV out.
Yeah, that was me.
Sorry, Karen.
But yeah, alhamdulillah, man.
People
like that.
When you guys arrived in Dublin as Menspire, was there did you see like a huge shift of people? Was it like, wow, there's a good barbershop now, or a good salon because I do often call Menspire barbershop. I'm very much so aware that it's not a barbershop, but it's a salon, and it's very unique what you guys do. It's like a blend between hairdressing and barbering. But you were mentioning that before, the level of like hairdressing in Dublin wasn't up to the standard that you would have liked it to be. So when you guys brought Menspire there, did you see like an influx of people just coming in being like surprised at how good your guys' service was?
Alhamdulillah, man. To be fair, from day one we were busy. From literally the get-go, we were exceeding my expectations in terms of like revenue and stuff. So I was chuffed, man. But yeah, there's definitely a big step up from when you come to a Menspire salon than when you go to, your average barbershop per se. Like, and in Dublin, like, the standard is improving, which is good, man. Like we as a company want the industry to improve, because as the industry improves, everything improves in terms of like prices go up across the board. So it means that the standard price of a haircut rises. There's lots of stuff that, if the industry develops, it has a massive impact on everyone. So, it's definitely nice to see other salons and barbershops becoming better. But yeah, there's definitely still is to this day a big difference from when, I'd like to think, when you come into a Menspire salon than there is from any other salon. I think that's what we pride ourselves on, is that we are trying to revolutionise men's hair. That's almost the sole purpose of the company. And I think that's the reason why we've been so successful to date, is because everything we do is based off of that strong why or purpose. Do you know what I mean? And everything we do relates back to that we are trying to revolutionise, and we are trying to become, the company that changed the face of men's hair. And I think we have done it, alhamdulillah, to a certain extent. And I think we are continuing to try and do it. But no doubt that companies are getting better as well. That has to keep us on our toes, that there is other companies that are in London and Dublin that are improving their service, improving their haircuts, which obviously makes us a little bit more hot on our toes as well, which is good. But yeah.
Certainly. I'd have to agree. I think a lot of people who know the industry know that Menspire have come in and have I would almost say created a industry within an industry, because there's the barber's industry and the hair industry, but they're kind of that bit in the middle with like, cutting men's hair, teaching men's hair, that whole men's salon thing. Didn't really exist. That's why Menspire was created in the first place, because it didn't exist. And I think Menspire has done a lot for the industry. I think a lot of people don't even realise what it's done. Like, even by the fact that we went in with our premium prices means that other barbers could then start, charging a bit more, which is good. We've improved the value of the industry, and yeah, there's purpose behind it, like you said. But we're definitely, we like to think that we're at the forefront of the industry, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be another group of young guys get together and create something that could possibly take us over. So it's very, very important that we are, on our tippy toes and making sure that every single aspect of our brand is perfect. Yeah. We see a lot of people now almost imitating what we're doing, which is fine. As you know, we've had this conversation. We see it. We see it a lot, and it's something that's happened over the years. It's something that we happened, but something that we're really keen on is just focusing on ourselves and focusing on what we're doing and focusing on making sure that our brand is at the forefront and it is the best that it can possibly be, and really trying to ignore the people who are kind of almost imitating what we're doing. And we support it. We want people to excel, and we want people to teach and educate and have do this, that, and the other. But I think there's ways of doing it.
Yeah.
But it's good. I mean, we like we said, we think we're at the forefront now, but who knows? Next year we might not be. So it's important for us to make sure what we're doing and we're focusing on what we're doing, and what we're doing is the best we can possibly make it. And I would say, alhamdulillah, at the minute it's the strongest we've ever been, and inshallah we're going to get stronger and stronger.
Inshallah, man.
But yeah. But no, it's good. It's been a benefit for the whole industry. I think it's improved the whole industry, and I think we've got a lot of work to do. But really, it's nice to see that barbers are able to charge a bit more. And the barber used to be able to charge like £8 for a haircut.
Yeah.
I remember when I was little, I used to like when I was really little, my mum used to pay £3 for our haircut.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yep.
crazy, isn't
I
it,
know.
man?
In England or
Yeah, in London.
in London.
Yeah, £3. Yeah.
Cheap.
Wow, bro.
Yeah,
That is
cheap.
really cheap.
Really cheap.
Yeah, £3.
He must have banged you out quickly, man. It must have been 5-minute trim,
Would have
you
been
know?
a quick.
Yeah.
Would have been a quick thing.
Yeah. Can imagine.
Yeah. So but £3.
Yeah.
But I actually I remember saying Sam, or maybe Sam a few months ago that so I myself, as you know, go to Menspire. Like I said, I'm a regular a place where I get my haircut, not by duress or force. No, check, it's really not. But I there's been once or twice where you've had to go to go to another barbershop, right? Because there's one right around the corner from my house, and I haven't been able to get an appointment with Menspire.
It's easy.
And
It's
so
efficient,
I've
of course.
popped there, and I've realised why I go Menspire. Do you know what I mean? It's something to be away from it.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the barbershop, and first of all, the language of the barbers, that's what I mean. It was just horrid. Like talking about like their night out last night and what he did to this girl and that girl. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And there was that, and then there was. I'm not painting all barbers with the same brush to say this is what all barbershops are like, but this is just the one that I went to. And then on the wall, there's like all these like pictures of like naked women and all sorts of stuff like.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then there's music blasting, so it's like you're in a club. And then only then did I really appreciate that why I travel like 40 minutes out to go to Menspire, because it's not the haircut. It's not just the haircut, it's more so the experience, right? It's like you go in the store, first of all, everyone's so friendly. Like even from the first time I went in the store, it's not just because I know the guys there. Even if, I'm sure that if I didn't know the guys there, that they would still be just as friendly. Every time I go there, we have a great conversation, not just with the guy who's cutting my hair, but the guy who's like Gigi. I always have a great conversation with Gigi, who's never cut my hair, but he's always cutting hair next to me.
Yeah.
Mahi's always like amazing, always offering a coffee, like anything you need. So when you get that whole experience, there's no music, so it's blast. You can actually have a conversation.
Exactly.
You're not hearing like vulgar speech from the staff. So when you see all of that and you hear all of that, and you enjoy that experience, you want to go to it, man. And I think the great examples of great companies is great customer service. So I remember recently when we had the Freshly Grounded event, we were getting all of these banners for our event, right?
Yeah.
And one of the banners that I got, it came when it was broken, and I spoke to the company. I said, look, I spent like around £1,000 with you guys now, like getting all my stuff sorted, and my event's coming up, and one of your guys' banners came and it's broken. It's a bit frustrating, although the rest of your guys' banners came and they were fine, but she just literally said, I'm so sorry about that. I'm going to have a brand new one sent out to you Monday. She didn't ask. I took pictures of the banners because I thought I'd have to, but she didn't ask for any pictures, nothing. And it felt so nice to know that I, as a customer, was trusted. And for them, it's £70. But when someone spent £1,000, £70 is like, it's like, you know what? I'm not going to ask him for pictures. I'm not asking proof. I'll sort it.
Yeah.
So this was on like on a Thursday, right? And she goes, I'm going to send one out. It was late on a Thursday, so she goes, I'm going to send one out for next day delivery, and it'll be there Monday in terms of like a next business day, right? And I came to office the next day on Friday and it was here.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is such great customer service. And so, likewise, when you go to Menspire, like there's been times where I've said to the guys, and I think that this would have happened regardless of whether the owners were Muslim or not. I've been like, oh, guys, like, running late on my prayer, do you guys mind if I pray somewhere? And even if the guys are, whether the guys there are Muslim or not, they've always said, oh yeah, like if there's space downstairs, they let me pray downstairs and stuff like that. And I think that just those things of just saying yes to a customer before you think about it and say, there's other options, it's nice. Like anytime someone could ask for a coffee, you could easily say there's literally a coffee shop opposite the road, grab a coffee from there, or I'll grab your coffee from there. But it's not like that. It's like I'll go to the back and I'll make you one. And little things like seeing when I was at the barbershop last, like when Mahi was busy with something, and he's the operations manager obviously of the Silverman store, and Sam was in, and the phone rang, and instead of Sam being like, yo, Mahi, the phone's ringing, Sam just picked up the phone and was like, hello sir, can I help you? And it was nice to see that the owner of the store is just as diligent as the manager. So
definitely, man.
Yeah, man, I'm a big fan of Menspire. I always have been, and I always really promote it and push it because I think that for those reasons it's worth like it's worth travelling out, or if you're paying a bit more than you are paying for your regular barber, you really do get the experience for it.
Yeah, of course.
You definitely get a nice haircut there as well, don't you? You haven't mentioned the haircut itself. You get really
but
nice
I think
haircut.
that goes without saying, though, isn't it? I do get a really good haircut.
You do,
Yeah,
So
it's my
like seeing you
favourite.
get I like watching you get a haircut.
It's my favourite. It's been my favourite place since I've ever got.
You go in look very like ratty.
Yeah.
You come out looking
Yeah.
I've seen
Prince.
Midge nice
Thanks.
you up. I've
Thanks.
seen Midge nice you up.
Yeah, oh, it's so
definitely.
nice.
I know,
Thanks
no,
for
it's
the-
nice.
He goes in looking like a mess, and he
Yeah.
comes out looking
He's
gorgeous.
beautiful.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's nice,
Zero
nice,
to hero.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
So nice to see, man.
Appreciate that.
That's all right.
Thanks, bro. Ratty, yeah.
Ratty, yeah,
Thanks.
very ratty.
He loves that. I've walked,
Yeah.
even if I walked into the salon, 9 times out of 10, I'm forced into the seat, downed up, eyebrows are done, beard is finessed. It's just a little pet hate you have, isn't it?
You
When
got-
someone's
yeah.
hair's not right, you really don't like it, don't you? No.
Clean it up, man.
The my two favourite barbershops, Menspire and the £3 one. Yeah.
Which one did the better haircut?
Well, it's a tight one. Menspire.
That's good.
No, but Midge is very good. And so many people speak. I mentioned to Abu Bakr like the other day. I was
Midge rates.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Abu Bakr
remember
rates
that
Midge.
actually? Abu Bakr rates. Yeah, remember he gave him sick trim.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Mashallah.
I said to Abu Bakr the other day, I was like, I'm just in Menspire, I'll give you a call back later or something. And then he called me, and then he was like, Midge is the guy. You went to Midge, yeah, Midge.
Yeah, Midge.
He only likes Midge, to be fair.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
he did like Midge.
Midge niced him up
He did.
that day.
He did. And Brunel as well.
And Brunel. Yeah.
Brunel's going for a trim tomorrow.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he
You're
back
not here
from Gambia?
tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's back from Gambia. Yeah.
Yeah. Mashallah, man. Some of the snaps he gets out
Have you seen
there,
Brunel's?
yeah,
Have you seen
he's-
Brunel's
wow.
work? Beautiful.
Yeah, he's working amazing.
Wow,
Really,
bro.
really good.
Bruno
It's
was a
incredible,
photographer.
man.
He told me
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah, he told me yesterday that he's coming down to the salon to take some pictures.
Really?
I was like,
Sick.
if only he knew how much I valued that. I was
He's
like,
a
wow,
sick
like
photographer, man.
Favorite photographer, yeah.
Very
So I'm taking him to the
s-
new academy and that and get some snaps.
Sick.
Should
Some
be
of
nice,
the snaps that
Oh,
you
that's
got.
nice. Someone
in
give you an
Gambia.
inch, you take a mile. Nice. Hey
Yeah,
Sam.
you.
Hey
yeah,
Sam.
you're a perfect example.
Hey Sam, coming down to take one picture of the shop. Oh, I'm going to take you with me to the academy. But I saw the academy, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Mashallah.
Yesterday's snap was the first snap that you put out where you actually showed
The
a
whole
lot of
thing,
it.
yeah.
Because normally you guys are giving previews or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
little
yeah,
snippets.
yeah, yeah. It's
been
That
very-
looks
yeah.
amazing. Allah Mubarak, man.
And
Like the
serious-
studio set up. Oh.
Alhamdulillah. You have to come and see it.
Yeah.
It's very
It's 95% done. There's still like a few bits to do to it. There's no logos and stuff up, so kind of like you can see it's a beautiful
Course.
space. But when that Chrome Menspire logo goes on the wall and that kind of stuff,
Aesthetically, it's beautiful,
yeah.
man.
But it's
Have you
It
been
is
there?
meant to
You
have.
just
Yeah,
told us.
I've been there this morning. Yeah,
Okay.
I've been there.
during
Like
the build. haven't you?
every time, yeah, every time I've went, it's been a little bit more finished. Like, remember the first time we walked in, I remember thinking, "Wow, what a beautiful space!" But there was quite a lot of work to be done, man, because it was literally
It was a
bro, like, it was a shell. Like I've went into premises like to look at, to take and like rent a retail space where, you know, like there's actual walls and floors and heating and electrics. This had nothing, bro. It was literally just a shell.
Just
It
all
was
concrete.
all concrete. It was like it was built and then they just left it. Like it wasn't fitted as a unit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
you guys could actually even hold events there, right?
yeah,
it's the
man.
plan.
Like,
yeah,
it's
that's
big enough.
it's huge, bro. Like it's you could probably fit, don't know, maybe 100 people in there,
No,
maybe a little
that's
bit more.
It's massive. It's
I thought
the-
it would be like
so all the
50.
do you see like where the mirrors are? Do you see like
Yeah.
So all of that can be put away. So the
Oh,
whole
I
thing
see.
can be
It's all
completely-
movable. Yeah. You can literally make it a complete
yeah.
open space,
So
man.
2 days ago they made the classroom in a certain way. So you basically got the walls out and built like a classroom, and they all interlink. They all have power.
Oh,
so
nice.
and then yesterday they did another formation. So you can just like
sick.
sit out.
And change it up every day,
Depending
yeah.
how many students you've got, you can make it as big as it or you can make it smaller.
So is that design the one that you're going to emulate in Dublin?
Hopefully, man. I mean, yeah, we'll probably take some aspects from it, definitely.
I think the reason, because someone else DM'd me saying you should have all your shops like that. The reason it looks so amazing is because it's a huge, massive,
Yeah.
vast building that
So
was
open.
completely concrete, and we've obviously built in some white walls and and finished it a little bit. If we could get all our salons to look like that, amazing. But you don't always get a unit which is completely
Exactly.
empty, which is also like as tall as it is because it's the ceilings are
Makes a
huge.
big
Even if you go
difference.
into the toilet, bro, the ceiling
It's
is
massive.
like loads. It's quirky. It's really amazing
Sick.
little building. But yeah, we're having the opening. Bosie's actually going to come down.
Oh, nice.
Do a
Nice.
little,
Is he, yeah?
Yeah, nutritional and well-being. He's actually coming down
Sick
today as
guy.
well.
Is he?
Oh, to St Albans.
To see Josh.
Oh,
Is
nice.
he?
Bosie's lifestyle. Big up.
What time? Sick. We must.
You'll probably see him.
I chat to him all the time on Instagram.
Yeah, you'll
man.
probably
We've
see
never
him.
met.
Really?
Yeah.
Sick guy, mashallah,
Yeah, you'll
man.
probably see him.
Are you? How long are you sticking around in London for?
I'm just here for today, man. Literally
Oh,
in and
really?
out.
Why
in
are
and
you
out,
here?
Yeah, I'm here for freshly ground, I suppose.
Okay.
Really, that
Alright.
was the main
And
reason.
dropping off the kids to the education, not the kids, but
Yes, that was yeah.
So we've got
Do you know
staff
what? I
training
actually
today,
wasn't. Yeah, we have. Well, I actually wasn't gonna come for that.
No.
I literally did just come for freshly ground.
Amazing.
Wow,
But
amazing.
in saying that, I was supposed to be there, but because it's Ramadan, I actually didn't want to break my fast because it's been the first time. Like only since maybe Saturday, I've actually felt like normal. Do you know what I mean? Like the first week, alhamdulillah, was tough.
Really?
But yeah, it was definitely tough, man. There was just certain times where I wasn't prepared enough. But like alhamdulillah, I haven't broken any fast yet. I've done the full chain, but I wasn't gonna come just because I didn't want to break the run. And then obviously we discussed about doing freshly grounded last week. I was thinking, do you know what, I'm definitely gonna do it. So I booked it. But at the same time, obviously we've got an internal staff training that we've got going on now.
Alhamdulillah, that's worked out well.
So it's worked out well. So I think it's every Wednesday of the month there's a different group, just random staff from each salon come to the new academy, and they're educated by Josh and Charlie for the day. So it's quite nice, man. I think
it's a good little group. We got Scotland in there. We got Ireland in there.
Scotland, Ireland,
England in there.
England in there.
That's it, really.
Probably a couple of Italians floating about as
There's
well.
Italians floating around
Italians
as well.
floating around.
Yeah, still waiting
Always
for
a
me to
few
speak to them from
Italians.
yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's not get into yesterday.
Nah, let's not get into yesterday yet.
Yet.
But we might need to.
Yeah, I warn you, we might need to get into yesterday. Next week.
Sam and I had a meeting yesterday, and it wasn't.
We had a meeting yesterday, and it frustrated us.
Yeah, it was very frustrating, and I know, I especially from the comments of like last week's episode as well, that like our listeners. But by the way, our listeners, I think Sam and I both see our listeners as like how we see each other, like our brothers and sisters, and we don't say. So I think there was a few comments last week where you and I both said like, "Oh, we'll chat about this off air," or "Can you mention this?" And I think that our listeners, since Freshly Grind started, they've like literally ridden for us and with us the whole journey, and so we never feel like there's not something that we can and can't say to our listeners because we see them how we see each other.
Yeah.
I think you'd agree with me, Sam. And it's not like, but I think that only when you're saying something on a public platform when there's thousands of people who could listen, you have to be cautious about what you say and what you say. But we definitely absolutely like love, and as soon as we're able to always like discuss something on air, we'd love to be able to do it, because I think like we have a very, very special connection with our listeners, because it's not people who just like watch something and then leave, but like the Freshly Ground audience is so amazing, and that they not only do they listen, but they interact, they give us like their feedback, they give us criticism, they give us
see that, man.
Ways we can improve, and they help us so much. There's been so many times where freshly grounded listeners have actually like helped us out so much. This is one guy in America, Kabir, who is a like proper like loves freshly grounded, and he when we were doing the campaign for PATRON, he like wrote us a huge like review to like explain why how him listening to Freshly Grounded has changed his life, and why and to like help us promote kind of our premium subscribers platform and stuff. So and that's like there's been so many different ways. So I think we value and have so much love for our listeners, and if we wish that we could like sometimes like even just be like, oh guys, then this happened, and then sometimes you have to wait. So this is one of those scenarios where yesterday Sam and I had a meeting that was inshallah, it would be great for Freshly Grounded moving forward. And it didn't go according to plan, and it was essentially because of we think a really it's because of an injustice, but we don't want to talk about it right now because it's still in the pipeline.
Of course.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
it's not looking great.
Inshallah, it works out, man.
Inshallah. Yeah, alhamdulillah, we put our trust in Allah,
Yeah.
and we know that it's from His.
We can.
Qadr.
The thing is, we can sort out the situation we had to sort out. We can sort it out elsewhere.
Of
But
course.
the actual thing
Yeah.
that happened, we will.
That's
Depending on what we find
Yeah.
out maybe tomorrow, which is Friday, we will then expose and explain that situation.
Yeah,
in
we
in
definitely
great
gonna,
detail.
Yeah, we
Because I
definitely.
feel
gonna
I
do that.
need to because I feel frustrated by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do that too.
Yeah.
So Glenn, how you kind of mentioned Ramadan now. How has Ramadan been for you? Because going from someone kind of who for like the first 20 years of their life has never had to
Yeah.
necessarily fast to go to like doing a whole
course.
month like in one go. How's that been?
Of course, it's been a bit of a struggle, man. Like I remember the first time I ever attempted to do a fast, yeah, and it was when I was still living in London, and I remember me and Sam were talking about it, and I was like, you know what, tomorrow I'm gonna do a bash, and like that night, I did not prepare, man. I didn't even know what like suhoor was. Like I had no idea. Like I think you probably mentioned you should probably drink lots of water and eat this and that, but I probably went to bed at like 12 or 1 a.m. usual time. Yeah, probably didn't drink enough water, didn't eat enough food. I got up the next morning. I was in work for 10. I remember meeting you, Sam, at your old flat in, I can't remember the name of the street, but you came out on a jubba and we had a little pep talk.
Yeah.
And I went back and I remember getting to maybe, I don't know, it was maybe 4 or 5 in the day and just cracked. It was so tough, man. I remember that actually scared me, bro. I was thinking, how do you do this for like a month? I was like, wow, this is going to be tough. So I actually didn't fast the rest of that Ramadan. To be fair, I wasn't really, I wasn't really on it at the time anyway. But then last year was my first Ramadan. And unfortunately, I didn't finish it, but I've done probably the majority of it. I think I've done 20 odd days. Unfortunately, didn't finish it, man. I'm actually gutted with myself that I didn't finish it. But that was, I suppose, my first year. That was my first Ramadan. And alhamdulillah, man, it went well. It was tough. There was times where I was like, questioned it and stuff, blah, blah, blah. But definitely got a lot of spiritual gains from it, man. As you know yourself, bro, like when you go to a long prayer at night, especially like around Ramadan time, Tarawih at the masjid, and you get into the zone, and after it you come out of it, and you literally you don't even know how long you've been standing there for. That feeling, bro, you don't get that any other time of the year.
Yeah, you don't.
Like it's very difficult to match that at a different time of the year. And I definitely experienced that last year for the first time. So alhamdulillah, man, this year is going to be the first year, inshallah, that will finish full 30 days. And yeah, inshallah, it's definitely been easier this year than it was last year.
Alhamdulillah.
Way easier.
Yeah.
Last year was tough, man.
We mentioned that as well because of the heat, I think.
I think it was. Even in Dublin, it was much hotter last year, man. It was even later. Dublin breaking fast is slightly later than UK.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I think at the minute it's like 9:20.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
a
is
lot
it
later.
about
bro.
half
That's
an
a
hour
lot.
later?
What's it here? Is it about
8:45 at the minute.
8:45? Yeah.
When you said the other day, it's about half an hour.
About half an hour.
So
Yeah.
that means that by the end of Ramadan, it'll be like close to 10 o'clock.
It's nearly 10 o'clock, and it's nearly. I
Blimey.
think this year Suhoor, it doesn't quite get as far back. Last year it was. I'm pretty sure, man. It was close to 2 a.m. and it was finishing, and iftar was at like 10. So
Wow,
it
that's
was.
a long fast.
It was
Very
long, man. It was some days, bro, where like it was tough, especially when I was getting towards the end, and it's like, all right, okay, we've got 1 more hour to go.
Are you able to like switch your days around a bit during Ramadan?
Alhamdulillah, bro. I have full control of my days. And do you know what, man? That's a blessing from Allah, man. Is that like I've got my own business and I can be flexible. Alhamdulillah, I've got a great team there. Everyone knows I'm Muslim. Like all the boys help me. My missus helps me. My family helped me. Like my family brought me out to break fasted or not, even though I'm not Muslim.
Oh, wow.
Missus very supportive, man. Cooks me dinner every night. It's, bro, alhamdulillah, man. I've got literally, the environment is perfect, bro.
Wow.
I literally couldn't ask for a better environment, man. So this year has been easy, man. And everyone kind of, at this point, especially the boys at the salon, they know I'm fasting, they know I'm Muslim, so I'm not really, some days I'm not showing up till 12 or 1 because I'm feeling like, sleeping a little bit, try and get a little bit of the day done early in the day. But yeah, man, this year's been easier, alhamdulillah. Especially the last couple of days, man, we're blessed, bro. Literally, I was, like, even like last night, man, went to see my missus' parents and our grandparents, and it was like 7, 8. I wasn't even really that hungry or thirsty, man. I was like, this light work, man. I wasn't even like counting down the time, really.
Allah makes it easy, innit?
Allah makes it easy, man.
Alhamdulillah.
So
do you try and sleep after Fajr, or do you try and just stay awake? Like, do you stay up all night and then sleep after Fajr?
Yeah, I prefer to do that.
Same.
Yeah, I actually last year I was staying in the masjid some nights until Fajr, and then going home, and it's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet this year. I am planning probably around Laylatul Qadr. I reckon the last 10 nights I'm gonna try and probably step it up a little bit. I also didn't want to go too heavy straight away. Last year I went hell for leather straight away, bro. And I burned out a little bit halfway through, man. I went so heavy the first
it's a
week
marathon.
or two.
Ramadan's a marathon.
Yeah, bro. You've got to pace yourself.
It's not 100. It's not 100-meter sprint. It's a
Nah.
marathon.
You've got to pace it. So
you got to make sure you got the last 10 nights is when you need the energy.
Yeah.
And that's not to say you ignore the beginning bit, but you like it's the same principle, man. I am saving my energy, inshallah, for the last 10 nights. And,
yeah, definitely.
That's when it really counts, isn't it?
Yeah, and you have to look at your priorities as well. But 100%, I think that's a common mistake in that you can't burn yourself out too early.
Yeah.
With Ramadan, you have to like pace yourself. Make sure you're fulfilling your obligations, and as Ramadan goes, you want to like be increasing in your acts of worship, so that like you don't leave it the same way you like came into it. But at the same time, it's not like you said just 0 to 100 on the first day, because no one can maintain that, bro. No one can maintain like switching up the lifestyle like to that extent. Yeah. It's very
beautiful month though, man. It's amazing, bro. Alhamdulillah, man.
We were on Iman channel last night, and one guy phoned in and he said that Ramadan like is a month that's changed his life because Ramadan came about, he decided to listen to a lecture. Because Ramadan is a month of us, and you can feel the shaitan locked up. Like even something little like opening a lecture is something that some people would not do all year round, but for some reason, because the shaitan locked up, they do that. And that was the lecture that actually really changed his life. And so he just happened to watch a lecture because it was Ramadan, and then he decided to make a change and he started praying 5 times a day and everything. And he sounded so emotional on the phone. Like he didn't even call in to ask a question to the sheikh. He just called in to like let us know that Ramadan was so life-changing for him. Which I think is beautiful. And I said to him, they call Ramadan the month of mercy. Like, this is one of the things that you call it. And it shows, like, look how merciful Allah was on him this month, that, like, because he was like, look, I'm going to be honest, my life has been a madness. But look at that, Allah showed him mercy and guided him in this blessed month, man. It was amazing.
It's mad, bro. Isn't it? Like, even when I think back to, I often do reflect on that, man. Like, when I think back to, not that I was a bad person before I was Muslim, man, but like some of the stuff I used to get up to, bro, and you think, wow, bro, like Allah still guided me to deen, innit? Like, it's mental, man. You think about it.
Yeah.
But what about you, Faisal? What's your Ramadan schedule like? Because obviously you do Iman channel. Yeah. Is that quite strenuous, or do you enjoy it?
It's very strenuous. I came home from Iman channel last night, and I had about 15 minutes to have my suhoor.
Really?
About 20, maybe about 20 minutes. Yeah.
Wow. Obviously, are you like drinking and eating the whole time you're there?
Yeah. So it depends. Like these next like 2 weeks that are remaining for Ramadan are very busy in terms of like in terms of TV, because it gets busy as you go, and as like Ramadan gets more serious. But if I'm not doing the Iman channel, my day is I'm staying awake all night. Yeah. And alhamdulillah, a big ni'mah from Allah that I'm very, very grateful for is that I can control my time. Nice. I'm grateful to Allah, but I'm also grateful to my brother Omar, because I work for Omar. So for him to like be, I actually proposed that all of us at work at Feed Source shift our working hours, and he was approved of it. So all of the boys we're doing 12 till 6 now. So we've shortened our work hours by 2 hours, and we're not doing 9 to 5, we're doing 12 to 6. Obviously we're not getting any lunch breaks, so that's more productive. Also, you find that when you don't need it, really. Yeah, you don't need it. And also when you're fasting, you are more productive because your head's a bit more screwed on. So
much more focused, man.
Yeah, man. So the boys are being productive. If they weren't, I'm sure that we would review it and say, look, guys, that's not working. I've told the boys, look, come in for 12 at the latest. So the 12 is the very latest that the boys are coming in, and we do work 12 to 6. So I'm up all the way till Fajr. I'll come in at 12. I'll do my day 12 till 6, and then I'll go home. And I'll have my iftar with my family, and then my evening is kind of my evening. So that's a non-Iman channel day, but that's not often. Most of the time I will have Iman channel. So like last night, what will happen is I will stay up all night again, and then I'm up at 12, but then I won't necessarily go into the office if I don't need to, because I'd have to leave the office early anyway to make ways, because it's 1.5 hour drive to Iman Channel.
Wow.
Yeah, so
There, so 1.5 hour there, 1.5 hour
back. Yeah, well, it's about an hour back because there's less traffic. So what I'm doing on most days in Ramadan, and sometimes I'm kind of working from home, getting some bits done, preparing for Iman Channel, driving an hour and a half, doing that, and then you're there from 6 p.m. till 2 a.m. is when you're scheduled. So you're doing like a long shift.
Wow, bro.
And then you're on air from about 8. You break fast. You got 7 minutes to break fast and be back on air. So you have to break fast and eat and pray as well in that time.
Wow.
So we break fast. We start our show about 8. About 8:40, we break fast, and there's a 7-minute gap. So in that 7 minutes, we quickly go right downstairs, open fast, have a bit of food, pray salah, and then back on air. And then we're on air for about 2 hours. So I don't get like my full iftar until about 10:15 ish.
Tough, man.
But then I've got a nice 2-hour break. So in that 2-hour break, you can you can eat, you can go to Taraweeh. There's a masjid nearby. Yesterday I decided to stay back and read some Quran. So I stayed back for that time, eat a bit, and then we were back on air from midnight till 2 a.m.
SubhanAllah, man.
But you know what? One of the big blessings of it, though, I would not change it, is that we get to be around like some great brothers. So like I said, like yesterday we were on Tim and those brothers, but also Sheikh Wasim. Like I've built such a like great relationship with Sheikh Wasim Kebson, and it's such a nitman because he. Like a lot of people know him in the UK, especially. Like he studied at Medina University. He actually became a Muslim the same year I was born, 1994. And he's got a wealth of knowledge, bro. Like I say, it's amazing being around him and learning things from him, and like little things. Like I said I turned to him and I said, Sheikh, today it was our break, so it was. The brothers naturally go to Taraweeh, and I turned to him and I said, Sheikh, I want to kind of catch up on some Quran today, so I'm thinking about doing that instead of going Taraweeh with you lot. What do you advise? He goes, yeah, catch up on your Quran is fine. It's not Taraweeh is not fard. Like, and you know when you hear from someone like that, even though you know Taraweeh is not fard, but when you hear from someone who has all of that wealth of knowledge and experience, and they give you that reassurance, it's a different level of calming. So I would not change my Ramadan schedule, alhamdulillah, but it's very, very crazy.
Definitely, man, bro. That's the one thing that I really miss about London, man. There was a point in time where I toyed with the idea of actually moving back to London, and it's still a possibility at some point that I could maybe, inshallah, have a business here as well, and come back and forth. But the one thing, man, is that I noticed, it's just the company that you have, man, bro, is it's such a blessing, man. All of you guys I said, where did you guys have iftar the other night? Somewhere.
Yeah, mine. And I was about to say that. I would have loved for Glenn to have come down to that.
The amount of sick people, bro, that were there, I'm thinking, wow, the blessings in that room, man. And then
it would be so nice if you were there.
Incredible, man. Yeah. That's the one thing, bro, that unfortunately, man, that haven't got in Dublin. Inshallah, man, in time it might progress. But in London, bro, there's such a sick community of Muslims, and not only people that are on deen and on the correct path as well, but also, alhamdulillah, are very sick businessmen, have very sick businesses. Just everyone, man. Son of Remedies, I speak to him a lot, man. Mashallah, bro. The stuff he does is sick.
He was there the other night.
Really?
Yeah, he was there. You know what? Next time we do it, inshallah, I'll make sure we do it in that time where you're here in UK, so we can kind of make the most use of your time here.
Inshallah,
because there's a lot of brothers I'd love to introduce you to, man. And even when I went to Iman Channel yesterday, I saw Tim and stuff, and I was like, Tim didn't come down, and there was loads of other brothers. So yeah, we'll do something together, man. Yeah, definitely. People, bro. Next time you come down, though, you can't make it a day. It can't be 24 hours. You have to come down, give all of your time that you need to come down for your business, for all of Menspire, but then add a day that's not non-work, 100%. And we'll make sure we arrange a lot of stuff with the brothers in it, because there's loads, 100%. Man.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Inshallah. Do you know, it's actually very rare that I do a 24-hour. I never fly in and out on the same day.
What time are you leaving tonight?
Yeah, tonight, 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
But I'm just conscious of fasting, that's all, man. I want to get back to it tomorrow and stay on it. But in saying that, I could have fasted tomorrow if I was here overnight and prepped, do you know what I mean? But it's just the comfort of being at home, and it's much easier. But that was the only reason why I actually just flew in and out same night, man, just to make it a little bit easier and get back in the morning and just crack on with it, really.
Where are you flying from?
Luton.
Okay.
Luton, straight to Dublin.
I'm picking my dad up from the airport today, and I asked him what time his flight was.
Heathrow.
Yeah, Heathrow. I guess what time the flight's coming in?
What time?
8:40 p.m.
Really?
Yeah, I told Mrs. She goes, that is
No
the
way.
most awkward time.
That's what time the flight
That's
comes
mad.
in.
That's what time flight comes in. So I'm thinking I could probably open fast at home, maybe, and pray. But it's a bit too tight. I don't think I'm going to do. I don't want my dad waiting. So I'll probably
Yeah.
get
Take
to
some-
the airport and just have some dates and water and pray.
Bring
at
it
the
with
airport.
you.
How far are you from the airport? Not far.
It really depends on traffic, but I'd say maybe like anywhere from like the spectrum of 20 minutes to 40 minutes. Like so,
Okay.
an average of half an hour.
Is there a airport behind your house, like a RAF thing or something?
Yeah, there's a nearby airport. Yeah. It's like a
RAF training.
RAF.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, man. Claire,
Definitely,
bro, it's been so amazing to have you here, man. Like, because we've been
Thank you,
wanting
bro.
to do this episode for a very, very long time. Since day one, and Sam literally talks about you all the time, and I think that you can see like pure brotherhood and stuff, and even if you don't meet someone too often, you can like see sincerity in them, and you just feel like you connect with certain brothers, and I think you're definitely one of those brothers. So, bro,
Yeah, man.
please like make yourself a regular here, man. Whenever you're down,
I'd love to do
Yeah.
that, man. I've said it to Sam since day one, bro. I'd love to be a part of Freshly Grounded, man. Just be on it every now and then. And then obviously, man, just with the right intentions, just giving some dawah as well, man. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully, man, someone will watch this episode that maybe is thinking about coming to Dean and sees the story that we've had, man.
Yeah.
Which is that, you know, anyone can be a Muslim, man. It's not, you don't have to be from a certain place, bro, just to practice Islam. Do you know what I mean? That's it, really, man. Yeah.
how do you think? How do you find like? Do you find that now? Because I think that now in this generation, there's a lot more Muslims that are just like we're now they're just Muslims. You can have your own culture and still be a Muslim, and there's a lot of British Muslims, a lot of white Muslims. Like when I was younger, I don't remember seeing a lot of white brothers in the masjid. Perhaps that was because of the masajid that like, we would naturally go to, but I don't think so. Whereas now, like it's very normal, bro, to like not only see like loads of brothers who are black, white, Asian, mixed race, like in a masjid, but even the people who are at the forefront of the masjid, like the brothers, like the imams or the shuyukh or even the brothers who are running the masjid, to be like not like to be like a reaver or not what would be a stereotypical Muslim, or what I would perceive as stereotypical Muslim when I was younger, which was like anyone who's Pakistani. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, do you know what it is, bro? Yeah, and it's that like people, unfortunately, that like I've had conversations with people, right, and I've been giving them a little bit of dawah and trying to explain, you know, the pathway to Islam and how obviously all the books are connected, you know, that you know, from the same message, like all the way from Judaism to Christianity to Islam, it's the exact same message. All the prophets are linked. People don't even know that.
Yeah.
People think that Islam is out on its own, that it has no relation or similarities to Christianity or you know, any of the prophets that came before Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Yeah, and I think, wow, like this is how little knowledge people have of Islam. No wonder it has such a stigma. Do you know what I mean? Like that was one of the biggest things that made me accept Islam, bro. Is when you think about it, like most people that are from, you know, Western societies, they briefly believe in you know, Christianity, Jesus, etc. Yeah, and you know that's a very comfortable topic because we learn it from day one in school, and it's like everyone understands it.
Very relatable, isn't it?
Very
That's
relatable.
the same as me, to be honest. When I understood that Moses and Jesus, peace be upon him, were that it was all part of Islam, and it's a major part of Islam.
Yeah.
And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was obviously the last and final. But all these other messengers, I was taught that. I went to a Christian school.
Of course, yeah.
Like you said, it's acceptable to talk
Acceptable to
about
talk
that.
about.
When you do see actually how close they are,
Yes.
and you actually see well their message is actually closer to the message I'm following, but the people who say they follow them are actually upon something different. And ultimately, first and foremost, let's just go back to monotheism, and actually really only for me it only makes sense there can only be one God, one supreme being, and it does not sit right that anyone else can even compare to that.
Yeah.
Islam is the only possibility.
It is.
You know,
But even
sometimes it's hard to swallow, but that is the only possible religion that makes pure sense.
But even on a simpler note, yeah, the fact that it was the final message, yeah, that was like the nail in the coffin for me. Like this was the last prophet. This is the final message. It's related to these books, so surely the last message is the last message. That has to be the one that people follow, and that even for me, bro, is simple. Like you know, like obviously you get asked certain questions about Dean, and you know, like my knowledge still isn't great. Do you know what I mean? So some of them I do try and avoid, and you know, I try not to speak without knowledge. But in a very simple context, man, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Like
I'd say, yeah.
it's, do you know what I mean? And aside from that, you know, when you look at, you know, the beauty of the religion, man, like I still remember going to the Drum the first time, yeah, and just how I was greeted, bro. Like I've never been greeted like that in my life, man.
What was it
Being
like?
like physically, like, you know, my hand being shaken. How are you, bro? Like people genuinely interested in you, not like they're actually genuinely want to know about you, who you are, and like that feeling, bro. You don't get that anywhere else, man. And then like even like on a level of like how committed a Muslim is compared to other religions. And it's not to say that people that are upon different religions aren't committed. There's people that are committed on every religion, but most of the time when you meet a Muslim, yeah, someone who's practicing Deen, their love for it is clear, man.
Yeah,
you know,
I was gonna say as well.
like you know,
even someone
it's
who's
incredible,
not
man.
practicing, you can tell that they wholeheartedly
Still believe it.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a sense of like
Yeah.
of purpose
No
there.
doubt whatsoever.
100%.
Yeah,
I've met many Muslims that, you know, don't practice or do practice but may not pray 5 times a day, but they'll still speak to you with passion about Deen.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And you'll still feel like,
you could
wow,
never convince them that it's not true.
that's not true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
certainly.
it's crazy, man, and that's like just the easy things, man. That for me, bro, that made it easy for me to step into Deen. Do you know what I mean? That,
Yeah.
and there's other things as well. Like obviously, you know, similar to Sam, I had experiences with like the unseen and the Jinn, and you know what, you know, in the Western side we call ghosts. You know, you know, that for me was another massive thing that made me realize, well, do you know what, if that can be true, then surely this is true as well. Do you know what I mean?
Did it make your experience with the Jinn? Did it just make you realize that there's other beings other than just humans and animals?
Yeah. I can't actually unfortunately discuss the story in detail because the family don't like it to be open conversation.
That's fine.
But anyway, something in my family happened. There was a family member of mine unfortunately passed away from an interaction with the Jinn, and it was quite a pivotal point in my life, man, because the details are very not scary. What's the word?
Really?
Yeah, I suppose they're quite eye-opening, basically. Yeah, the details of the story. And when it's someone that you know personally, yeah, someone that you have known like your whole life, yeah, and has went through an experience like this that is that profound, it makes you question everything, man. Like you think, wow, how could this person have experienced something so superstitious, so out of our, you know, daily, like, I suppose not even imagination, but so out of our like daily interaction. It makes you think about life, man, as a whole. And then further down the line, bro, I had more experiences, more like very personal experiences with Jinn, man. You know, I witnessed, I suppose, a possession in some sense, and it was just like when you actually not necessarily see a Jinn, but you've interacted with one and you know it's there. You think, well, then if that, you know, thing is there, then surely there's something greater to this. Because if it's not just us humans that float around this earth, man, then something has to have created that as well. Do you know what I mean? And even just a simple idea of a human being, man, you think about it, bro. Like, I remember Josh saying to me one time, I remember saying to Josh, this is prior to me being Muslim, yeah, I said, I'm not religious. And Josh, as Josh does, gives you a beautiful long speech that makes everything nice and clear, and he says it in a really nice tone, and you're very tuned in to the whole conversation. And he explained to me, he said to me, basically, he said, okay, so he said, imagine.
Isn't that okay? It's such a Josh okay. This is Josh, bro. Like you tell him something, and then he says, he goes,
I'm actually going back to the time.
Yeah,
he does that.
funny.
Okay.
Yeah. He like relaxes. You know,
Yeah, he does. He does.
He's
yeah.
the best.
He's sick.
So go on, what did he say?
He's sick. He basically said to me, he said, imagine an iPhone fell from the sky, yeah, and I picked up this iPhone and I said to you, this iPhone created itself and it just fell from the sky. He said, what would you say? And I said, I'd think you're a madman. He goes, okay. So he said, if you think the idea of an iPhone creating itself is mad, then what do you think of the idea of a human being creating itself is? Something that we can't even create, yeah? Humans cannot create human beings. Humans can create iPhones, yeah? Something so complex that we can't replicate the human body, yeah? You're willing to say that was just created, just came. And I thought, do you know what? It's a very good point. You think about it. Think of how complex that iPhone is, man. When you actually think about it, like, even the idea of that creating itself is fairly far-fetched when you think about it. It's impossible. How on earth do we think that the human, being the human existence was just, it just happened?
With all its complications.
All its complications and all its beauties. And even, do you know what? I experienced something really deep, man. My Mrs. Dad was unwell recently. Inshallah, he recovers, man. He's actually better now. But anyway, he had something wrong with his heart, yeah? And when he went into hospital, the doctor said that they had picked up a certain chemical that is only released when there's trauma in the heart. SubhanAllah, man. I thought that was amazing, bro. You think that doctors can trace that one thing back to the fact that the heart is having trouble?
Yeah.
Wow. That blew my mind, man. I didn't know that previously, so it was like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know
The
that.
body
Look
is
at how much
crazy.
Islam talks about the heart.
Yeah, man.
And how soothing the Quran is for your heart. You don't know, bro, that you just by reciting Quran or listening to Quran or praying Salah is like removing that gene. Because I didn't know, but it could be. That could be the cure, because we can only see the cures on the outside. Like if I have a car and then I put something on it and it fixes it, I can say, all right, that fixes that. But we don't know what happens to our body inside. We don't know what actually takes place in our body when the Quran is being recited.
Yeah, it's true.
Don't know.
It's true.
Could be all sorts of stuff, like just like battling stuff and like
true.
fixing up genes and everything. Like it's almost like, imagine the Quran's been played and then the body just goes, all right, cool, we're working now.
Yeah.
Wow, it's interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't know, because you don't know what happens inside.
We don't know, yeah.
It definitely has an effect on you, doesn't it?
100%.
It has an effect. The tranquility that comes over you. It's just, we put it on in the academy yesterday. Did you see on my story yesterday?
I was starting the academy
with the system, and just what it does to the room. It just takes you to another place. It takes you to another place, man.
It's amazing,
It's
bro.
a powerful thing. The tranquility it gives you is nothing else can do that.
Nah, man, you definitely don't find it anywhere else, bro.
Impossible.
It is impossible. It is impossible.
Even you see on YouTube, like
It's
non-Muslims listening to the Quran and the effect the Quran has on non-Muslims and atheists and
Yeah.
stuff. It has a clear effect. It has an effect on people. Like, if you can actually physically see people having an effect to it.
Even when like you're in Salah and like you see a lot of people that cry or get emotional or like get attached and you don't understand that don't understand the word. Like, come on, man. What could you do?
I spoke to Jubil about this yesterday.
Yeah.
He goes, the fact that we don't even understand the majority of it necessarily,
Yeah.
but it's the effect it has on you still. Like, it can only be from
Mad,
God.
isn't
Do
it?
you know
When you
what I mean?
think about that, actually, you don't even understand sometimes a lot of
Majority
what's
it,
being said.
Yeah, of course.
And it still can have that big of an
course.
impact on you, man.
Of course.
Imagine if someone started like reciting something in Greek to you, bro. You'd be like, allow it. I don't understand what you're saying.
You'd be like, yeah,
It's true. It's true.
Glenn, Jazakallah khair for coming down, man. It's so amazing to have you on. It's lovely to have you on in the blessed month of Ramadan. We pray that you get home safely and you can continue with your fast, and Allah put barakah in your Ramadan and in your businesses. Ameen. And Sam, thank you for bringing Glenn down, and thank you for introducing me to him in the first place, man. A very solid candidate for your replacement if anything were to ever happen to you, because you could die.
That's fine.
Just like I could die.
Yes, of course.
True. Very
Would
true.
you prefer him?
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but if
I'm
I
saying,
die,
like, we don't
Glenn
know.
will be the man.
I think you would.
We don't know.
Probably.
Just like if I die, which is very possible, you have to find a
Probably ask Omar to step in.
He's not. You just find a Pakistani who's like my height. Hanan might be a good candidate. So we'll see. Inshallah.
Hanan.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Brothers and sisters, this is Freshly Grounded, episode 104.
Yeah.
And we out of here,
Sick.
baby.
That was. Say again?
I mean,
Who's baby?
take care, guys.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.